Hello students, greetings of the day. I hope you all are safe at home. Yes? Okay. Today we are going to start our third unit in history, that is rural life and society. Do you know what is meant by rural life? Rural life means it is nothing but the village life. Okay. So in this class we are going to know about the land revenue policy under the British and what are the merits and demerits of land revenue policy. Okay. So now let us start our lesson. So in the pre-colonial period, Indian economy was predominantly an agrarian economy. So agriculture was the primary occupation of the people, and even industries like textiles, sugar, oil, etc. were dependent on it. So do you know what is meant by colonial period? Colonies means that is it is the practice of domination of a country by using their people. Okay. So the British, they made their colonies in India to exploit our natural wealth. Okay. So in the pre-colonial period means before the colonial period, our Indian economy, it is basically an agrarian economy. What does mean by agrarian economy? Agrarian economy means it is nothing but it is our Indian economy is an agricultural economy. Okay. So here the agriculture is the primary occupation of the people, and there were many industries like textiles, sugar, oil, like these industries mainly they depend on agriculture. Okay. So the British government in India not adopt a pro-Indian agriculture and the land revenue policy. So after the British government which was introduced in India, this British government they did not adapt the policies of our Indian agriculture and also our land revenue policy. So British government they introduced three major land revenue systems and the tenurial systems in India, that is the permanent settlement, the Mahalwari system and the Rayotwari system. So the economic exploitation of the peasants led to the revolt in future. So this British government they used to exploit the Indian wealth and the people. Okay. So do you know what is meant by revolt? Revolt means it is an violent action against the government. Okay. So see, there are three types of land revenue system was under the British. Okay. That is the permanent settlement, Rayotwari system and Mahalwari system. This permanent settlement was introduced by Lord Cornwallis. The Rayotwari system was introduced by Thomas Munro, and the Mahalwari system was introduced by Lord William Bentinck. Okay. Now let us see about the permanent settlement. When Robert Clive obtained the Diwani of Bengal, Bihar and Orissa in 1765, there used to be an annual settlement. Warren Hastings changed it from annual quinquennial and back to annual again. So during the time of Cornwallis, a 10-year settlement was introduced in 1793 and it was known as the permanent settlement. First, Robert Clive, he obtained the Diwani of Bengal, Bihar and Orissa. Here Diwani means it is the right to collect revenue. Okay. Robert Clive, he obtained the right to collect revenue of Bengal, Bihar and Orissa in the year 1765, and he used a policy called annual settlement, that is the cultivators, the farmers, they had to pay the revenue annually. Okay, that is yearly once. Okay. After that, Warren Hastings, he changed the system into an quinquennial, that is 5 years once the revenue has to be paid. Okay. So after that, Cornwallis, he changed the system into an 10-year system. Okay. And this system was introduced in the year 1793, and this 10-year system was commonly known as the permanent settlement. This permanent settlement was made in Bengal, Bihar, Orissa, Varanasi division of UP. UP means Uttar Pradesh, and northern Karnataka, which is roughly covered 19% of the total area of the British India. It was known by different names like Zamindari, Zagirdari, Malguzari and Bisbedari. So this permanent settlement system was introduced in the places such as Bengal, Bihar, Orissa, Varanasi, then in northern Karnataka. Okay, so this places it constitutes about 19% of the total British India. So this system was called by different names. Okay, so what are the different names? This permanent settlement method is also known as the Zamindari system, Zagirdari system, Malguzari and Bisbedari system. Okay, so now let us see about the salient features of this permanent settlement. So first one, the zamindars were recognized as the owners of the land as long as they paid the revenue to the East India Company regularly. So what's the first feature of this permanent settlement method? Here the zamindars, they were considered as the owners of the land until they had paid the revenue to the East India Company regularly. The second one is the zamindars acted as the agent of the government for collection of revenue from the cultivators. So in this permanent settlement method, the zamindars, they acted as an agent to collect the revenue from the cultivators and they had to submit that revenue to the British government. The third one is the amount of revenue that the zamindars had to pay to the company was firmly fixed and would not be raised under any circumstances. So what's the next feature? The amount of revenue that the zamindars had to pay to the company was fixed. Okay, this amount should not be raised under any situation. The amount must be fixed. Okay, so if the production is high means also the same amount has to be paid. If the production in agriculture is low means also the same amount must be paid to the British government. The next one is they gave 10 out of 11 of the revenue collected by them from the cultivator to the government. So this zamindars, they had to pay 10% of the revenue, that is out of 11, 10% they has to pay it to the government. Okay, then the zamindars would grant patta to the ryots. The ryots became tenants since they were considered as the tillers of the soil. So the zamindars, they would grant patta, that is they would grant written agreements to the ryots. Here ryot means it is nothing but the farmers. Okay, so the zamindars, they gave written agreements, that is pattas, to the farmers, and the farmers, they became the tenants since they considered as the tillers of the soil. Tenants means a person who occupies land rented from a landlord. So that person is known as the tenant. What is meant by tenant? A person who occupies land rented from a landlord. The next feature is all judicial powers were taken away from the zamindars. Here the in this permanent settlement method, the zamindars are freed from their judicial powers. Okay, so these are the salient features of the permanent settlement method. Okay, next one, merits. So in this permanent settlement method, this method it consists of both the merits and the demerits. Now let us see about the merits. Under the system, many of the wastelands and forests became cultivable lands. So under this permanent settlement method, many of the wastelands and forest lands became the cultivable land. So the zamindars became the owner of the land. The next one is the zamindars were made free from the responsibility of providing justice. So the zamindars were they were relieved from the responsibility of providing justice to the people. The next one is the zamindars remained faithful to the British government. The zamindars, they remained loyal to the British government, and this system secured a fixed and stable income for the British government. So these are the merits of the permanent settlement method. That is, under the system, many of the wastelands became cultivable lands, and the zamindars, they became the owner of the land. The zamindars were freed from providing justice, and the zamindars, they remained loyal to the British government, and this system it provide a fixed and stable income to the British government. Okay, next one, demerits. So the British government, demerits means disadvantages. Okay, so merit means advantages and demerits means disadvantages. So what's the demerits? So the British government had no direct contact with the cultivators. So in this method, here the zamindars only, they collect the revenue from the cultivators and they pay it to the government. So in this method, there is no direct contact between the British government and the cultivators. Then the rights of the cultivators were ignored and they were left at the mercy of the zamindars. So here the zamindars, they refused to give the rights to the cultivators. Okay, they had to depend on the zamindars. Okay. Next one, the peasants were almost treated as serfs. Okay, so the peasants means the cultivators. Okay, they were almost treated as serfs. So what is meant by serfs? Serf means the agricultural labor, the agricultural laborer, they has to work on the estate of his landlord. Okay. Next one, this system was made the zamindars lethargic and luxurious. Okay, so due to this permanent settlement method, the zamindars, they became very lazy and they live a very luxurious life, that is very wealthy life. Okay, they had many privileges. Then many conflicts between the zamindars and the peasants arose in rural Bengal. So due to this permanent settlement method, many conflicts means many fights. Okay, so many conflicts were arose between the peasants, that is the farmers who are in the rural Bengal, that is village Bengal. Okay, so these are the demerits of the permanent settlement method. Okay, so next let us see about the Rayot-Warris system. So this is the next system and the system was introduced by Thomas Munro. Okay, so the Rayot-Warris system was introduced by Thomas Munro and Captain Rudd in 1820. So the major areas of introduction of Rayot-Warris system was Madras, Bombay, parts of Assam and Coorg provinces in British India. So in which places this Rayot-Warris system was introduced? It was introduced in the places such as Madras, Bombay, in some parts of Assam and Coorg provinces of British India. Okay. So by Rayot-Warris system, the rights of ownership was handed over to the peasants. Okay. So in this Rayot-Warris system, here the right of ownership was handed over to the peasants. Peasants means farmers. Okay. So here the British government collected taxes directly from the peasants. Initially, 1/2 of the estimated produce was fixed as rent. This assessment was reduced to 1/3 of the produce by Thomas Munro. The revenue was based on the basis of soil and nature of the crop. Okay. So in this Rayot-Warris system, the ownership was handed over to the farmers. In this system, the British government, they directly collect the taxes from the peasants, that is from the farmers. Okay. So initially, 1/2 of the estimated produce was estimated as rent. Okay, as the rent of the land. Okay. So after some assessment, this 1/2 was reduced to 1/3 of the total produce. Okay, this was done by Thomas Munro. Okay. Then the revenue was collected on the basis of the soil and the nature of the crop which was cultivated in that particular land. Okay. So here the rents would be periodically revised generally after 20 to 30 years. In the permanent settlement method, the rents were fixed. Okay, it will not be changed. But in the Rayot-Warris system, the rents would be periodically revised generally after some 20 to 30 years. Okay, so the position of the cultivators became more secure. So in this system, the position of the cultivators became more secure, that is more safe. So in this system, the settlement was made between the government and the Rayots. But in the permanent settlement method, the settlement was made between the zamindar and the British government. There is no direct contact with the peasants and the government. But in the Rayot-Warris system, there is a direct contact between the British government and the peasants. Okay. So in this system, the settlement was made between the government and the Rayots. In fact, the government later claimed that the land revenue was rent and not a tax. Okay, so later the British government it claimed that the land revenue was a rent for the land. Okay, so it is not a tax. Okay. Next one, salient features of rayodwary system. So the revenue settlement was done directly with the rayots. So in the permanent settlement method, the revenue collection was done by the zamindars, but in the rayodwary system, the revenue settlement was done directly with the rayots, that is the farmers. Okay. Here the measurement of field and an estimate of produce was calculated. So government fixed the demand at 45% to 55% of the produce. So this is the salient features of the rayodwary system. Next one, effects of the rayodwary settlement. So in most areas, the land revenue fixed was excessive. The rayots were hardly left in bare maintenance even in the best of seasons. Okay. So in this system, in most of the areas, the land revenue fixed was very excessive, more. Okay. So the rayots, they were hardly left with bare. The farmers, they are not able to maintain their farmland in the best seasons also. Okay. So under the system, the government exploited the farmers instead of zamindars. So in the permanent settlement method, the zamindars, they exploited the farmers. Okay. So in the rayodwary system, the government, they directly exploited the farmers instead of the zamindars. Okay. So these are the effects of the rayodwary system. Next one, Mahalwari system. So already you have know that this Mahalwari system was introduced by Lord William Bentinck. Yes, yes. So Mahalwari system, a brainchild of Holt Mackenzie, was modified version of the zamindari settlement introduced in the Ganga Valley, the northwest province and parts of central India and Punjab in 1822. Okay. So this Mahalwari system was introduced in the year 1822 in the places such as Ganga Valley, the northwest province and parts of central India and also in Punjab. Okay. So Lord William Bentinck was to suggest radical changes in the Mahalwari system. Okay. So Lord William Bentinck, he made many changes in this Mahalwari system by the guidance of Robert Martins Bird in 1833. So assessment of revenue was to be made on the basis of the produce of a mahal or village. Here Mahalwari, in this Mahalwari, Mahal means village. Okay. Here the collection of revenue was based on the produce of the village, total produce of the village. So all the proprietors of the Mahal were severely and jointly responsible for the payment of the revenue. That is, all the head of the village was the responsible to pay the revenue to the government. So initially the state share was fixed 2/3 of the gross produce. What does mean by gross produce? Gross produce means the total produce of the land, okay, per year. So initially the state share was 2/3 of the total produce. Then Bentinck, he reduced that to 50%. So the village as a whole, through its headman or lambardar. So the headman of the village is known as the lambardar. Okay. So he was required to pay the revenue to the British government. So this system was adopted in Agra and Awadh and later extended to other parts of the United Provinces. Okay. So this Mahalwari system was first introduced in Agra and Awadh, and later the system was extended to some other provinces. So the burden of all this heavy taxation finally fell on the cultivators. So this burden of paying of taxes fell on the cultivators only. Okay. Next one, salient features of the Mahalwari system. So the first one, the lambardar acted as the intermediate between the government and the villagers. So who are lambardar? The lambardar is the head of the village. Okay. So this lambardar, he acts as the intermediate between the government and the villages. Okay. So it was a village wise assessment. One person could hold a number of villages. So even the one person may be head of number of villages, and the village community was the owner of the village common land. So the common land of the village leads to the village community. The village land belonged to the village community. Here the village land, it belongs to only the village community, not the zamindars or the British. Okay, so these are the salient features of the Mahalwari system. Okay, next one, effects of the Mahalwari system. So the laborer enjoyed privileges which was misused for their self-interest. Okay, so who was the laborer? He is the head of the village. He enjoyed many privileges and he led a luxurious life. Okay, so this system brought no benefit to the cultivators. So by this Mahalwari system, there is no any benefit to the cultivators. It was a modified version of the zamindari system and benefited the upper class in villages. So this Mahalwari system, it is a modified version. It is considered as a modified version of the zamindari system. And by this Mahalwari system, only the upper class people in the villages were benefited. This system, it does not give any benefit to the cultivators. Okay. So next one, impact of the British land revenue system on the cultivators. So we have already saw that the British, they introduced 3 different types of land revenue policies. That is the permanent settlement, Rayatwari system and Mahalwari system. So the permanent settlement method was introduced by Lord Cornwallis. The Rayatwari system was introduced by Thomas Munro, and the Mahalwari system was done by Lord William Bentinck. Okay, so we had saw about the salient features and merits and demerits of these 3 systems. Okay, so now let us see about the impact of the British land revenue system on the cultivators. Okay, a common feature of all the settlements was the assessment and maximize income from the land. It resulted in increasing land sales and disposition. So due to this land revenue system, it leads to the increasing in the sale of land by the cultivators. The peasants were overburdened with taxation. So due to the tax burden and famine in general, the people suffered in poverty and burdened with debt. So here the persons were overburdened with the taxation. They had to pay the tax regularly. So due to this tax burden and the famine, the people, they suffered from heavy poverty and also in the burden of debt. They had to borrow some money with the others. Okay, they had to seek the money lenders who became rich and acquired lands from the peasants. Next one, the zamindars, money lenders and lawyers exploited the poor peasants. So in this situation, the zamindars, the money lenders and the lawyers, they misused the poor peasants. So the stability and the continuity of the Indian villages were shaken. Cottage industries disappeared on an account of import of British goods, and the peasants had nothing to supplement their income. So due to the arrival of that is importing of British goods, our traditional industries such as the cottage industry was disappeared. So the old body of custom was replaced by new apparatus of law, courts, fees, lawyers and formal procedures. Okay, so the British policy proved advantageous only to the government of a privileged section of the society at the cost of the cultivators who were in the rightful owners of their land and claimants of the larger share of the produce. So due to this settlement methods, that is due to this British policy, this policy was advantageous only to the government of a privileged section of the society. Okay, those who are the owners of the land and they got their privileges at the cost of the cultivators. Okay, so this was the impact of the British land revenue system on the cultivators. Okay, have you understood, students? In our next session we can see about the peasants revolts. Okay, so due to this settlement methods, the peasants had revolted against the British government. Okay, so there were many revolts took place in British India. In our next section we can see about that different that is peasant revolts. Okay, so you are having an assignment today, that is at the last page you are having a glossary. Okay, so there are some 7 glossary words are there. That is, apparatus means new system, claimants means a person making a claim, cultivator means a person who cultivates the land. Then encroachment means intrusion on. Moneylender means a person who lends money to people at high rate of interest. Then predominantly means mainly. Tenants means a person who occupies land rented from a landlord. Okay, so you have to write this 7 words and you have to write the meaning of the 7 words each 5 times. Okay, so this is your assignment today. Okay, thank you students.